Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Tales from the Midnight Diary. My name's Gemma and I am the dye designer and tutor behind the Midnight Diary indie dyed yarns company from which this channel and podcast take their name. It's absolutely lovely to meet you. If you are here for the first time, welcome. Everyone is welcome here, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you again for yet more words of encouragement and support from you all about the new layout of the channel, about the new video series I'm doing, and about how things in general are going. It's really quite nerve-wracking to put things out here for everyone to see. So it's nice to have that feedback from you. So yeah, welcome to my little corner of the internet in Kent. I have a finished object for you today, and I have a work in progress to share with you as well. And I have some exciting new yarn colourways to share with you that are going into my shop on the 22nd of March. I also have a fairly interesting tale, as those of you who've read the title of the episode might have guessed already. There was an incident with a large body of water, a dog toy, me and a sweater. But we will come on to that shortly. So yeah, here I am again, another week, another podcast. It's getting very dangerously close to being a regular thing, this. So yeah, I hope you've had a really good week. After all the snow and things of a couple of weeks ago, it is now balmy and gorgeous. I think I said this last time. I'm looking out the window behind the camera and the sky is blue, the sun is golden. It's starting to not quite set. It is about 4:15 on Sunday afternoon, but it's just got that lovely late afternoon sunshine glow that I just absolutely love. And in my garden I can see little daffodils, little tete-a-tete coming up, which is really exciting and reminding me that I really do need to dig my veggie patch out. So yeah, welcome. Episode 5. I can't quite believe we are 5 episodes into the New Look podcast. It's quite exciting. Yeah, and finished objects are becoming a fairly regular thing. So why don't we start there? Let's start with finished objects. Ta-da! Here we have it. This is, I can't see you. Hi! Here we have it. This is the Eliza T from the book On the Hooked by Truly Hooked. I am really proud of this. It is my first crochet adult garment. And from last week when I was sharing with you my tale of yarn woe, you can see I have actually completed it. I've got this really cute little detail down at the bottom that I just love, and added little cap sleeves as well. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you might be able to spot that there are some not so subtle differences between this bit and this bit. You might also spot a little bit of a fade going on here as well. So this is because the lovely Sophie, who is a Spring Snowflake podcast, go and check her out, was very organised. I knew that she had what I needed in her stash. Unfortunately, it was a slightly different dye lot. So I started fading in about here, and you can kind of see it almost looks a little bit stripy. And then I just went for it at the bottom and on the sleeves. But last time I spoke to you, I was actually here, where this purple stitch marker is. It's very handy. And that was last Saturday. I recorded the podcast on Saturday last week, so my husband had something very exciting going on. And yeah, so I've got all of this done. I actually finished it at Sip and Stitch night on Wednesday and was utterly thrilled. Yeah, it is mostly treble crochets. This is actually not a very holy fabric. Excuse the ends. It is actually for a friend of mine, and if it's not quite right for her, I want to add more on. So I don't want to, you know, there's no point sewing the ends in to then have to unpick them again, is there? Exactly. So it's not as holy as it could be as a crochet garment. I did actually do it on a tighter gauge. Do I love the way it looks? Yes. Am I going to make one for me? No. I found this a slog. There is nothing wrong with the pattern. The pattern is beautiful and it is really easy to follow. And as a fairly inexperienced crocheter in terms of garments, I would actually say that this is a fantastic one to start with if you are wanting to try to crochet a garment. I think it's really flattering. It's got a gorgeous neckline. It's really easy to do. But having made one, I now don't want to make another one, because where it is just trebles all the way down the body, it feels like you're getting nowhere fast. There's quite a lot of crochet in here. Having said that, everyone who's seen me modelling this one has said that actually it does really suit me and I should consider doing one for myself. So maybe I will do one in the Midnight Dyery yarns. There are actually some skeins of playing fields in the merino tencel base that are just sitting unloved in the shop at the moment, and I'm very, very tempted to pinch them for myself and possibly crochet myself a top. Having said that, quite keen on picking blackberries too. What do you reckon? I think it could make a really pretty top. So yeah, after quite a while on the hook, not needles, I'm really pleased to have this off. Unfortunately, my friend has left the area, so I'm going to have to either post it to her and hope it fits, or wait until she returns and we'll see what happens. I hooked it on, chained it on last summer, and discovered when I put it on, we did a socially distance, so I sort of chucked it at her, she shoved it over her head, and it was just a little bit tight, particularly around the armholes. So what I did, because I was already doing the larger size, and I'd actually gone down a hook size because I'm usually quite a loose crocheter, so I just assumed I needed to go down half a hook size. It should have been done on a 4.5 and I've done it on a 4. So what I did instead was I worked out the maths, how many of these repeats, how many stitches I needed to add a certain number of inches, and I did it that way. So yeah, I'm hoping it will fit her. So I started it then having ripped it out, I found the first round really, really tricky. I'm going to be completely honest here. I always ended up with the wrong number of stitches. Verity in her instructions, she says, oh, it's fine, you know, you might just have to skip 3 or 4 at the end instead of, you know, 5. No, I had completely the wrong number and it just would not have worked. I don't know what I was doing. But yeah, so I then sort of put it to one side and thought, oh, okay, I have to do some maths. So I did the maths and then I started it again, but then it went wrong. And then I did it and we tried it on my friend again and it fitted beautifully and I lost it for weeks. Could not find it. Couldn't find it in the bag I'd taken to my friends. This was back pre-lockdown, or it was kind of in between lockdown 1 and lockdown 2, where you could meet in private gardens. So I had my bag with me with lots of different things in, because we do lots of different things, sewing, quilting, you know, that sort of thing. They're trying to lead me down the quilting rabbit hole. At the moment, I'm on the edge, sort of like looking down, going, no, you're not going to take me alive. Anyway, wasn't there. Found it again about 3 months later. Thought, oh good, I know where it is now. Promptly lost it again. So in the end, it basically was here after Christmas, and I've done all of this since Christmas. So I'm really pleased to have my first adult garment off the hook from the book On the Hook. Did I mention that? I love a pun. So I feel slightly bad for sitting here wearing it, but if I take it off, I'm only wearing a vest top and I can't bother to go and change. So I'm just going to wear it for a bit, and you can tell me if you think I should make one for myself or not down below. Incidentally, that's where you'll find all the show notes for today, and I've got some really cool make-along news as well. So next up is another finished object. I'd forgotten about this. This is my crocheted face cloth with exfoliating bobbles. You thought after the Circle of Friends I would never want to see a bobble again. Well, you'd have thought right. I was so frustrated. Every month I send out a newsletter. If you'd like to sign up for it, the link is on my website. Again, all the links are just down below. And every month I send out a free knitting or crochet pattern. And this month I thought it was time for crochet. I know what I want to send out. I want to send out my beauty kit. It's a fun little free pattern. And then I thought, right, I best work it up in the cotton that I have in my shop. This is my Cotton Air, which is so soft and so luxurious. I better work it up so I've got a sample photograph for the pattern, because I'd originally designed this one for the yarn dispensary. I often do little designs for them, and then the rights come back to me, and this is well over a year now, so the rights have come back to me for this one. So I thought, well, I'll write it up for DK because I'd written it for Aaron, and I'll give it a go. And then I realised there were bobbles, and the only way I could get through was with the help of my friends and some very silly songs. So what was it? It's lovely bubbling along, bubbling along. You heard of that one? Not quite on the bottom of the beautiful briny sea. Bit of bed knobs and broomsticks for you. And yeah, my personal favourite, everybody's bubbling. Do, 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 do. I'll never do that again. I promise. And these little face cloth wipes, I can only find 2 at the moment. I did 5. They're a really nice shape, really simple. This one involves trebling several together. This one involves bubbles. So yeah, I whipped this up in basically an evening, and this pattern is going up on my PayHip store. You know where they are by now. Next week sometime. So there'll be a new crochet pattern released. So typically I will be sharing with my newsletter subscribers patterns that are new, haven't been released yet, or have been reimagined somehow. So that's this one. And also excitingly, for newsletter subscribers, there is also £3 off the price of my cotton DK yarn. So that is actually less than the introductory price. And because we are now at 390 YouTube subscribers, I feel like we should have a little bit of a celebration. We are so close to 400, but I'm not going to wait for 400. I'm going to give you guys the code as well. So keep watching until the end, and at some point it will be flashing up on the screen. So there we are. And if you want any codes for discounts in the future, or you would like to get your hands on some free patterns, knitting or crochets, you know what to do. Sign up for the newsletter. So those are my finished objects. The reason I worked so hard on the Eliza tee was because what I really wanted to be working on was my Stephen West's Slipstravaganza, or as my very good friend Linda and podcast co-host for the Yarn Dispensary podcast said, I can't say it now, Stripstravaganza. See, that will serve me right for trying to embarrass Linda. I can't now say it. I wanted to work on this. And my friend Laura was working on hers, and it's so beautiful, and my other friend Laura was working on hers as well, and again it's so beautiful, and I just wanted to carry on. However, I have got no further because wow, that looks really bright in the afternoon sun. Isn't that delightful? I just love it. I felt the guilt over having not had this finished yet. My lovely friend Helen's been so patient. And so I said, oh, I'll just do a couple of rows. So I do a couple of rounds on this, and then I'd forget myself and do like 4. And then in the end, as the week went on and it was looking more and more like I would actually finish it, Laura was saying, yeah, but you know, once you finish it, you can get on with your Stephen. That's really good motivation. Do your Stephen when you finished it. Having finished this, have I put a stitch on Stephen? No. Because finishing this took this, my whipboard, down to single figures. I know, I don't think you have ever seen my whipboard in single figures. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know some people have recently watched lots of episodes of the podcast, so I'm sure you'll pop up in the comments and let me know. I don't know, somehow being in single figures simultaneously freaked me out and invigorated me. I kind of still want to finish all the things, but I did feel it gave me license to cast on something new. Now, having promised myself I would work more in my own yarns this year, have I? Nope. I cast on a little baby vest in Bo Peep Luxury Baby DK from West Yorkshire Spinners. This is for my friend Linda. Well, obviously not for my friend Linda, it won't fit her. It's for her new baby grandson who is due imminently. I don't often knit baby things anymore, but I have really enjoyed this. And the Bo Peep yarn is just delicious. Bo Peep Luxury DK from West Yorkshire Spinners, and I'm just showing it off because you guys might not know, there's a baby and toddler event on at the local yarn shop, the yarn dispensary. Go check it out. But I'm really enjoying working with it, and I wasn't entirely sure how this kind of flecky, not quite variegated yarn would work up. However, look, it kind of works up almost like a mini Fair Isle, which is really cute, a little bit like Sirdal Baby Crofter, but this, more natural fibres. The thing that took me a while was this side. Yeah, this side, because you work flat and then it has you separate and just work one strap and then work the other strap. And if I'd done that and just joined on the yarn when I'd finished up here, this bit wouldn't have matched. And for the sake of a little bit of faffing, I think it is really worth having the two sides matching. I'm sorry that this is flopping down so much and I can't show you. Ugh. There we go, you can kind of see it a bit better now. It's still not quite perfect, but it's closer. It's definitely closer than it was. It was completely pale on this side and it looked very odd. So but I know some people think, oh, well, that's just the way the yarn goes, you can't do anything about it. Yes, you can. You can just wind off a bit more, snip it off where you think you've got to the right point and start from there. It did take me a couple of attempts, but I'm really glad I did it. I think it makes such a big difference. So I am anticipating having this finished certainly by the end of the weekend. That was the front and I've already cast on the back, so it's really not going to take me very long at all. Kind of want to sit and sit on it now. So I took a week off, and as you know, to sort my house out, sort my life out a bit, do some adulty things, and I have nothing to show you for the 100-day project. I thought I would get loads done. However, on day one, I thought it'd be a really good idea to paint the kitchen. And so I started with the ceiling and the walls, and I had very good intentions to paint the tiles and fix the work surfaces and possibly even relay the floor. I spent one day. I painted the ceiling, I painted the walls, I went to bed, I could not move. I'd really done something to the muscles here in this shoulder and all over my shoulder blade. So the result was I could barely move. I was very uncomfortable for several nights in bed. I was strange. I was okay during the day, but as soon as I went to bed and lay down, one night I actually woke up crying in the night because it was hurting so much, and Alan had to roll me over like some sort of beached whale. It was not good. So suffice to say, sitting hunched over my frame cross stitching was never going to happen. So I've actually ended up having a whole week off of the 100-day project. So I just need to get back into it. Other news I've got to share with you is that we've got some make-alongs wrapping up. The isolation along is drawing to a close. I will be drawing the winners for this last quarter. I'll be drawing those, where are we now? 7th of March. I'll be drawing those in a couple of weeks. I know the vanilla along will be finishing as well in a couple of weeks because that's finishing with lockdown too. But I have some very exciting new make-along news that I want to share with you. Let's have a look and see what else has gone in the isolation along and vanilla along first, and I'll see you back here in a sec and tell you my news. Okay, so I've decided to have a new make-along and I'm trying to sort out the hashtag. I'll have a look during the editing process and flash it up here. Magic. Da, da, da. But basically it's going to be Midnight Makes. something along those lines. So if you use the Midnight Dyery yarns, or you use a pattern from my Payhip store, or that you got from the newsletter, or even if you want to use project bag yarns, because a number of those colourways are going to be coming back as the Midnight Dyery, then it counts for the make along. Double entries, I guess, potentially, if you use my yarn and my pattern. So yeah, I just want to see the yarns out in the wild. I know that a lot of you have got them because I've shipped them to you. I would like to start seeing these things made. So my challenge to you is, will you join me in a midnight make along? I will figure out what the hashtag will be. We're going to start officially April 1st, so April 4th, Easter Sunday. We'll start Easter weekend. We'll start that weekend. We're going to officially start then, but whips will count. So if you cast on something in between now and then that's absolutely fine. And that is going to run initially for a month. So it will run until May the 4th. And we'll see how we get. Anything crochet, weaving, knitting, all of those things count, as then all the patterns that I've designed as well also count. So yeah, midnight make along. I hope you will join me in that one, and it will encourage you to release some of the lovely yarns that you people have purchased from me over the past couple of years from stash, and let them live. Oh, right. So what other news have I got for you? Not a lot, really. It's an interesting time of year at the moment, as most of you will know. We've just had Lara's birthday. Next weekend is Mother's Day, and the day after is her anniversary. So it's a bit of a tricky time. I'm spending more time trying to be more open and honest. I mean, I've always tried to be open and honest, but I'm sharing a little bit more than I perhaps usually would about grief and bereavement and those sorts of things. So if you follow me on Instagram, you will probably see a little bit more of that. But I had a bit of a win. There was a really awful Mother's Day card in Tesco's, which I won't share here because of the very reason that I asked them to take it off. I brought it to their attention. It was a card that would have really hurt a lot of bereaved parents, not just of small wee babies like mine, but of older children as well. And I my instinct was just to turn and run, but I pulled my socks up, put my big girl pants on, and thought, no, come on, Gem, you're an advocate. Lara kicked butt, so can you. So I went to the Tesco's customer services and I just said, is there somewhere where I can offer some feedback about an inappropriate product? And they were really lovely. They said, what is it? And so I told them straight away. And they were just wonderful. They got them straight off the shelves. They reported it to the management and said, look, this isn't acceptable. This is going to cause a lot of pain and distress to people. And they said they were also going to pass it higher up so that other Tesco's branches would not have that card either. And I felt really, really proud afterwards. I'm not saying this for a yay, woe is me, but just for a yay, go me, you know. I'm saying this because you can change things. If you see something that is not good, you can change it as an individual. If you are not up to doing this yourself, you could contact a charity. For example, in this situation, I would have contacted the SANS charity, which is the Stillbirth and Neonatal Death Society, and requested they got in touch with Tesco's about this, and they probably would have done. In fact, I'm sure they would have done. So I feel kind of proud that I was able to do that. I am in no way bitter about Mother's Day at all. It's personally difficult for me, but then it's personally difficult for a lot of people. However, a little bit of sensitivity and awareness doesn't go amiss, and that's the whole point of Lara's Legacy, is to spread awareness. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. It was a tough day on Monday, but it felt good having done it. It did feel good having done it. What else has been going on? So after recovering from damaging my shoulder, I had a few quiet days. I've got a new Hoover, which is really exciting and makes me completely middle-aged. And there was an incident, I promised I'd share with you an incident about my sweater and swimming. I didn't quite go swimming in my sweater, however, it was very close. So we live near a really beautiful park where we like to take Magnus for walks, and the last few times I've been, he's wanted to go and play in the water. There's like this shallow pool bit, and he's wanted to go and play in the water with the other dogs, and he hasn't. He's kind of been a bit shy of it because he's not sure about the water, and he's not very confident. He's not really ever swum before. So I said to my husband, well, let's take his ball and we'll practice his swimming, because there's another little bit that's like a pool and it's really quiet. It's not stagnant water or anything like that. It is flowing, and I've seen other dogs have swimming lessons there before, so I thought, right, we'll give this a go. And so I got the ball and I tossed it in and I went, ready, go. And so he kind of went into the shallows and brought it back out. And we did this a few times, and my husband was like, you're really working on his swimming skills, aren't you? I was like, oh, fine. And so I threw it in a bit further, and Magnus went in after it, and it got a little bit too deep too quickly for him. He just wasn't quite sure. So he came out and the ball kept going and ended up kind of in the middle against like a fallen tree. And we were like, go on, get it, go get it. And he tried to problem solve. He went around the tree to try and get it, and he couldn't get it. And I wish we'd got some footage of this, but my husband was far too busy laughing. And he's like, well, what are you going to do now? You can't just leave it there. You're going to have to go in, aren't you? Well, you know, you're going to have to get it. I said, yeah, fine, I will. So off come my boots, off come my hand knit socks, up roll my jeans. And initially I tried to climb over, like lean on the tree so I could get it, but I could just see myself sort of lying across this tree. This fallen tree is kind of like lying into the water a little bit. And I could just see myself either being so heavy that the tree dipped down and just dunked me in the water, or it would be that I would reach down into the water and just spin off and land on just completely in it. So in the end, I decided that wading in was the only thing to do. So the socks were off, the boots were off, jeans were rolled up, in I went. Oh my goodness, it was cold. It was so cold, but really weirdly refreshing and clean. It was really clean. So I was sort of wandered in and got a bit deeper and a bit deeper, and I didn't, my husband was like, you can't go any further, it's going to really drop off and go deep. And I said, yeah, but I'm not leaving this ball there. It's pollution. It's, you know, it could cause the animals some harm. This isn't happening. So I just wandered in, and by this point it was up to my knees. So even as far as my jeans had rolled up, they were now getting quite soggy. And he was like, lean, go on, lean. So I'm leaning forwards and I'm holding onto the tree and I'm leaning forwards for this ball. And he was like, oh, your sweater's in it. I was wearing my weekender, which has like probably more like 12 inches positive ease now since I made it, because I've lost a little bit of weight. And basically it was just hanging forwards. So I'm sort of leaning like this for this, and this sweater is down here, like in line with my knees. Oh God. And I was like, I don't care, I've just got to get the ball. So I got the ball, and my husband was like, I really didn't think you'd do that. I really thought you would just leave it there. You know, fair play to you, respect to you. So thank you very much, Mr. Midnight Diary. So by that point I'm wading out, my feet are absolutely frozen. It was so cold. And he said, you know, oh, well, if your sweater's already wet, why don't you just take it off and use it as a towel? Now, luckily, I was wearing a vest underneath this. Otherwise, there'd have been a whole lot of bra on show. So I took it off and I thought that's a good idea. So I'm sort of holding onto him one-legged. I'm sinking into the mud with the other one, trying to dry my feet. But of course, pure wool, it might be machine washable, but that stuff does not want to take the water on board. So effectively, all I managed to do was kind of move the water around my feet a little bit. But yeah, so it survived. It didn't smell great having been in the river water, to be honest. There was a distinctly green... What I was going to say was a distinctly green smell. However, there was a technical glitch. Somehow the next 7 minutes of podcast footage have disappeared, and we are left with skipping to the end. So off we go. 1, 2, 3, yay! Okay, so excuse the angle change. We are losing that balmy evening light now, and I need to start thinking about wrapping this up because it is quite late on Sunday afternoon, and if I'm not careful, I'm not going to get this up at a decent hour for you. So Without further ado, let me show you what I've got going into the shop update on the 22nd of March. I showed these two nameless beauties off last time. They're very different to the sort of thing I would normally do. I've done kind of pinky purples before, but this is kind of bolder. I'm not really sure. I think these are going to be one-offs. They were definitely fun to play around with, but they're not going to be a Midnight Diary staple. After the sellout that was the Merino Tencel in 3 of the 4 colourways, I had to, of course, bring it back. So this is Picking Blackberries. It is slightly lighter than the last. I'm looking at the yarn. It's slightly lighter than the last incarnation. Still a little bit damp. It's not twisted into a skein yet because these are still drying. I only actually finished dyeing these ones this morning. But I love that colour. So, Picking Blackberries on Merino Tencel. I have Twilight on Merino Tencel. So this is beautiful muted blues and greys with some darker tones within it as well. I also have, but I don't have them to hang because they're still in the dye pots, Lake Moat and a brand new colourway on Merino Tencel, which if you tune in next week, I will be able to show you. I have another 2 of a kind here. This one, certainly much more my usual style. Again, no name. It goes quite nicely with this one, but you can see this is much more tonal and muted than this one. So I have 2 of these, and this is on my merino nylon base because what's happening this time, my signature collection is coming to the shop. So I teased about this before, but as many of you will know, I used to be Project Bag. And as the Project Bag, I dyed fairly successfully. Did a few shows, you know, and I have some really lovely colourways that I'm very proud of and don't want to say goodbye to in my back catalogue. So I've decided to pick my favourites and they will become the Midnight Diary signature collection. So these are ones that I am more known for and they have been reimagined slightly. So this is Aurora Borealis, but as you can see, whereas it's normally much more like this all over, this has swathes of the emerald, of the teal green and of the purple and black. So it's slightly reimagined. So I've got 2 or 3 skeins of Aurora Borealis going in. And I teased about this one as well, but this is Grubby Goldfish, which again has been slightly reimagined. It's a little bit more grown up. So it still has the trademark golds and the flecks of a chestnut colour, but it's got these much more vibrant goldfish tones and is much more reflective of the different shades that you would find on a goldfish. So I'm really thrilled with how this turned out. I teased it on my Instagram yesterday and I was really, really nervous about it because if you're going to take something that people love and tweak it, there's always a bit of a chance it could go wrong. But actually I adore this. I love these bright pops here. I just think it adds an extra dimension to the colourway. And yeah, it will go really well with some of my other semi-solids that will be coming back in the future. So I have 3 skeins of this going into the shop update. And that is all I have to tease you with at the moment. I have some cotton on the hob as well, getting ready to dye. I washed that yesterday. Friday. Yeah, I washed that on Friday and I had to go and purchase some sea salt. So yeah, as I say, there is still cotton in the shop at the moment and there is a discount code for the cotton. Magic. If you would like to try some, because I know if you're trying a base for the first time or if you're shopping online, it's quite hard because you can't have a squish. So I'm just trying to make it as accessible as possible to people, insofar as I can. You know, I'm still obviously running a business and this is a lot of hard work. So I'm not just going to discount things willy-nilly forever because it's not sustainable. But if I can give back and say thank you to you for your support and encouragement, then that is what I shall do. Okay, so that's about it from me. I'm going to head off and get this edited and get this up for you to watch and possibly carry on working on my baby sweater or maybe my Stephen West. We shall see. Have a lovely week. Thank you so much for watching and coming back and take care. I will see you very, very soon. Bye.